Stowe. It's a beautiful spring day today. We're on another section of the Carolina Thread Trail today. Checking out, the trail seems to have many different names, but it's a Seven Oaks Nature Preserve and the Duke Kimbrell Trail, and we're actually looping in or around the Daniel Stowe Botanical Garden. So, something new to check out today. We drove by the little trailhead as we went by. So is that one of the options? No, that is the option. That's where we're trying to park. So we did a little U-turn and got parked. Nice little parking area, and it is beautiful out here with all the green. So it really looks like spring today. There are a lot of birds out here singing to us today. Enjoying the sunshine after a couple days of rain. The trees appreciated the rain though. This week I was feeling kind of reflective. I have been substitute teaching quite a bit, and I am usually in special needs classrooms, in part because I like to, if I'm in a role of serving or helping, I want to help where there's not always the help that's needed. So most people are not comfortable in those rooms. So anyway, I spent a lot of time with different populations of special needs this week. And I've mentioned that my son has some diagnoses, including ADHD and ASD, so he's on the autism spectrum. And neither of those were diagnosed until he was much older. His giftedness was diagnosed when he was young, but any of the other behaviors or questions or concerns were always excused or brushed off because of the giftedness, or just I'm not sure, not needing to take the time to spend more time concerning about them. But I've been reflective because I've seen so many behaviors in these classrooms that are the same behaviors that my son did as he's gone through these last 14 years. And I am a pretty well-educated person in general, very knowledgeable on the whole education process and child development and everything. And so I knew when to ask certain questions, and so there were things that I would ask his pediatrician about, and they always just said, no, it's not enough of a concern. And even simple things like his eye control, now that's so much improved now. He had naturally strengthened it some, but it has become so much stronger with the neurodevelopmental movement therapy that he's been doing, and he's able to track horizontally and vertically so much more smoothly now. And previously he had one eye that was really kind of lazy and wasn't serving him as well as it should have. So things like that I had tried to bring awareness to, or find out if I needed to be concerned about them. And I think in general a lot of people just unless they really need to. They don't really want to make a big deal. And part of my thinking about this is because there's so many parents of these kids that are in these special needs classes that don't know what they should really be doing or what kind of assistance their kids are really receiving. So then the teachers aren't even supposed to say anything, so that's a whole nother thing. So parents really need to learn how to fight for themselves and for their kids. Some turtles down there on the logs. So I wish that my concerns had been taken more seriously, because I can't help but question if at this point now Caden wouldn't be struggling as much if he had received more help when he was younger with those specific things. So when I'm able to be in these classes with the kids with all their unique needs, I'm thankful that I get to invest what I've learned from just actual education knowledge, but also from experience. And then I'm able to share with the other assistants or the teachers what I've experienced and what I've seen. So I was excited. There was one kid that in a preschool special ed room that he's been really struggling this year, but his parents decided to fight for him to have full-time one-on-one ABA therapy. So he got pulled out of the classroom, but it's because it's what he needs. So it's sad to see the kids go, but it's really exciting when it's because they're moving on to where they're going to be most successful and what's going to help prepare them for their futures. This is a really peaceful section of the trail. There are no houses to be seen, just some water and trees and trail. So I think both awareness and support are so important for most anything in life, and we've been seeing that as we're now dealing with an almost 14-year-old trying to handle his challenges, and finding that being direct and clear and supportive with it is the most productive way to handle things. So as I've been noticing progress with those kinds of steps and him knowing he has support, I think about the lack of support I felt when he was younger, and I did my best to be involved with other people and spend time with others, and for his benefit and as well as my own. And both of us always felt a little bit out around the edges, not within anybody's inner circle. And it can be a very lonely place. Thankfully, we always knew we had each other, and he and I have had a very close relationship, and so that's been fantastic. Now that he's growing up and dynamics have shifted some within our family and life circumstances have changed, there's not as much of the need for that same kind of closeness, which is good for a 14-year-old boy to learn how to have some independence. But during the time of growing up the way he did, it was extremely helpful that we had each other. Of course, I wish that we felt that from others as well. One example was the local Moms Club group that I ended up leading for years. And it was great on the outside, but it got to where I felt like I was putting in so much work and planning, and we weren't able to experience those same connections and bonds that some of the other members were feeling. And it was just because of our circumstances, we didn't fit in. Everybody else had a full family unit, and it was really just Caden and I when he was younger. And so that's been something that's changed now because we have Caleb in our lives. But that made it difficult. And then his differences made it another layer of difficult. And that was among him with the kids, but then also with the parents, because honestly it came out as a little bit judgmental from them. So that's hurtful to see. And I don't think he really processed it that way, but I did, and so that affected my interaction with them. And just because of the nature of what I'm interested in doing, like I've never been able to find a mom's group that just takes their kids out hiking or backpacking. It's the dads that do it with their kids. And so I was always kind of left to the side because I wasn't interested in the same things that the other moms were, and I would try to join just to be a part of it, but it just wasn't the same as when they were just participating with one another. So it creates some isolation. So as I see other people, and parents will now contact me about questions with homeschooling or giftedness or other diagnoses, and I try to be a support for them because I know how lonely it felt when I didn't have that, and try to give a little direction, encouragement, and just kind of a constant that I'm there if they need me. So it seems to be well received since it's pretty down there. Little creek deep down in the grass. Because I'll hear from the same parents repeatedly, so it makes me feel like they're appreciative, and it makes me feel good that I'm able to be there for others when they don't have someone else. I know what that's like. It's a really cool trail, and there's people on it, which is always nice, but it's not crowded, so that's good. So we're now in the Stowe Botanical Garden property. So there's signs in front of a lot of the plants to tell you what kind of plant or tree or shrub it is. I always appreciate that. There's some really cool trees through here though that have started growing where an older tree died or decayed. It's pretty cool. New life. So, unusual on a hike that I do, but this goes right next to the Daniel's Stowe Botanical Garden, so we're making a pit stop for the bathroom. It's nice to have the facility option. But it's a beautiful place to visit. We went in the fall. It was really nice. But they do lots of different events here, so it's always fun to see what they have going on. It's definitely a very pretty hike. It's very quiet and peaceful, so it's really nice. And today I've just been drawn to noticing how the trees are growing and supporting each other, so it's kind of funny where your mind gets focused. But there was one larger tree that had kind of decayed from like one side of its tree and the little part inside the middle there. So it was really just like a large semicircle. And it was there that it seemed healthy otherwise, since the outer part is actually what's living. It seemed to have been doing okay, but found it interesting that there were two not tiny trees. They've been growing now for quite a while, but smaller trees growing basically from inside that little protected area, and then they were growing outward at an angle. So I was thinking about how they chose could be a very wise spot in the way that they could be protected, but could also be damaging, that they could be crushed. And I think that's true of people around us. I was encouraging my son the other week about his friend choice, because there was a certain scouting leadership thing that they were all being selected to do, and so I think that shows that you have a good choice in friends. And he seemed to really take to that when he then brought them up. I think it was this week. Then he said, "Yeah, I'm glad you think I have good choice in friends." And said, "Yeah, it can mean a lot, because the people around us can really support us and build us up and help us in a lot of ways. And they can also tear us down and weaken us and make it very difficult for us to succeed." Of course, you can have those that have no significant impact as well. But in comparing people to the trees, that's how I think of it. And I think you can always find some positive if they're seeming like they're a neutral component in your life. So those trees seem to be doing well. And I'm thankful for the community I do have and the community that we're building now. And I think I appreciate it even more because we've experienced the without. There was a time when my son was younger and our air conditioning in our car broke down. And so we dealt with it for a long time because I couldn't afford to get it fixed. And when we were able to have air conditioning again, and even to this day, we appreciate it so intensely so. So that was another one that he brought up to me recently because we've had some warm days and we've been able to have the air on. So years later, it made an impact on him though. So I think that makes him treasure his friends even more as well. I know I do. So this section of the trail has some good information boards to tell you about the Seven Oaks Nature Preserve. You can have a great view of the water out there. I feel like we're being serenaded as we walk. So the loop that we're doing, it looks like a lollipop. It's mostly a loop with a little tail to go out and back, a lollipop stick. So we repeat on that part, but the rest of it, it's a big circle. So it's supposed to be a total of 4.9 miles. We'll see how accurate that is, but definitely easy walking. So it was a good choice for today, considering my energy level. But I'm glad we're making a point to get out here, enjoy the fresh air and nature. It's a nice view of Lake Wiley. It's a very clear view out there. Cute little island. And there's some little birds live out there. We are making our way back, finishing up the loop. We'll just have the out and back part to go back on. So, been a great afternoon out here though. Highly recommend the hike. So, I hope you appreciate the people that you have in your life today. Think about the kind of person that you are for those that are in your life. And I'll see you next time on the trail with Heart.